Gather around, friends, new and old, and welcome to Roast and Toast. We are your hosts, Philip and David, still missing Jenny, but
in every way possible, we miss her.
Yeah, we do miss Jenny. We are welcoming back from last week's episode. My girlfriend Nicole is going to join us for a game this week. But quick little updates. Since we're recording this on the same day as the last episode, I'm still sick.
Well, you're still sick.
I'm still not feeling well.
I think more importantly, too, we should note that because we're recording the same day, we still, as of this recording, even though you, the listener listening right now, know the nominees who have won the Oscars, we don't know anything. Yes, right. We don't know anything more than what we recorded last week. Yes. Okay. So that being said, welcome back, Nicole. It's always lovely to have you. Friend of the podcast, Nicole, David's girlfriend.
Lovely to be here.
What's new with you guys? What's happened in the not week since we've last talked?
Like the minutes?
The minutes, yeah.
Fast?
Just slightly more tired. Slightly. Yeah, it's getting late.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit dumber as time goes by. But that's good.
Oh,
right?
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Anything new with you, Philip?
Let's see. So it's so funny because I'm moving in with my girlfriend. So that is a big odyssey. I used to think, I mean, you probably would disagree with this, David, as we didn't live together, but we were in close proximity. There were times where we spent intimate times together as far as like I slept over or something.
We did live together for like 2 weeks when you were touring
I guess that's
Europe
true.
with me.
Yeah.
Kind of. We were staying in the same vicinity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is not to besmirch. I feel like Jenny from now, 2 episodes ago, where it's like, look, it's not necessarily meant to insult my current roommates, but if the shoe fits, I've been so used to being the cleanest of the group. It's such a relief to be like the quote unquote messy one. Cause I'm messier than her, but that doesn't necessarily make me messy. So I'm still having to uphold to her standard. But it's so nice to just live with somebody who doesn't create a pigsty that I now have to live, and either I have to make the choice of either cleaning it up myself or be the nagging roommate who I don't want to be. And then plus moving in and everything, it's been so exhausting, but we are near completion on it.
I think it's okay to be the messy one as long as you're aware that you're the messy one and are aware of the areas in which you need to
where you can't be messy.
Be a little
balance it out.
Like, right.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I've seen that this person does their dishes promptly. I'm going to try to do that as much as possible. And you're aware of what you need to do to meet at least a bare standard. And that's the thing I had when I lived with Cole, is that like, I think I was the cleaner one.
Friend of the podcast.
But he sort of met me on that level. So, that worked.
Yeah, I've always been of the mindset, and I think it's the fairest, is that there are some people who go above and beyond, and I think we've even done an Am I the A-hole episode on this, where it's like they will go above and beyond to make sure that your room's messy. I could care less what's going on in your room. You have a pigsty, you have an organized mess, you have a disorganized mess, you have piles of clothes. I don't really care. That's your own room. You exist in your own realm. Whenever it starts to interfere with my life, though, whenever we're starting to mess with my either sleep schedule or we're messing with dishes and there's no clean plates, nothing to do around, that's when I starts to get a little cranky. That's when I'm like, all right, look, what are we doing here? Am I the only one who knows how to operate a dishwasher? Am I the only one who knows to just even put something in there or even out? What are we existing in a clean dishwasher world or a messy dishwasher? I'm not that person. Anyways, Nicole, I'm curious, since we have you, and this is one of the rare times I get to talk to you, are you the messy one or is David the messy one out of the two of you?
I could say that I think I'm more messy. Like
you're the more man.
Like I think we're a similar
on the same level.
Okay, that's good.
But I think I am trying hard. Like
I just think
I'm
because
more messy.
It matters
me,
who
right?
moves into whose space.
Yeah,
That's
and
true.
I'm also living in your space and with your family, so
Right.
it's like even more. I think this will be a new conversation when we move into our own space together, and maybe
I'm
David
sure.
will be like,
Yes.
Maybe.
yeah, maybe he'll break up with me at the time.
Perish the thought.
Stay
Perish.
tuned.
Stay
Yeah,
tuned.
see?
Keep listening. I'll let you guys know what happens.
What a tease. My goodness. All right, let's get to the main topic before we get into any more trouble.
All right, this week's episode is a game episode, and because we have a guest, I have a game, yes, but because we have a guest, we have questions for our guest. What is your favorite movie that we've watched together? And it's not Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Which was the first. We've answered that before, yeah.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy. No. So this is biased because it's a movie that I really love and I made you watch it, which is Leon the Professional. But the movies that we've watched together for the first time, I think it must be one of the like Oscar nominees. It's probably Anatomy of a Fall.
All right.
Also Poor Things.
Yeah, we did watch most of the Oscar movies together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really like Poor Things. I just don't think it should win Best Picture of the Year.
Yeah.
Actually, I
No,
think
no.
I think it's a more deserving win for Best Picture than Emma Stone. But we talked all about that.
Totally.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nicole, my question for you, and I feel ashamed that I've never really asked you this, and so it'll be good for me and the audience to know this. What brought you to the Netherlands when you're from Mexico?
So my family is a bit of a mixed thing, like a mixed bag of everywhere. So my grandma, she lives here in the Netherlands, and she's Dutch Indonesian. So she lives like 2 hours from where I am by train. So part of it was to move in to be a bit closer to her, to be able to visit her and see her a bit more often, because we were always living apart. And sadly, another one of the reasons is that Mexico, maybe you know it living in the US, that it like narcotráfico?
Narcos?
Yeah, narcos is like
Drug
organized crime.
trafficking.
Yeah, drug trafficking and organized crime is getting a bit heavier, and the state where I lived in, it's getting more and more dangerous. So especially for women, like
Yeah.
I would no longer feel safe walking on the streets by myself, and I didn't like living in my own bubble. So I wanted to do my own life as I would anywhere else, but I couldn't. So part of it is why I'm here. So good and bad. Yeah.
Poor joke
Yeah.
incoming. But are any of the drugs that they were offering Zyrtec or anything for David's seasonal allergies? He's in the back.
There
He
should be.
normally
Yeah,
can-
I have my
Yeah.
suitcase there. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll just
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
something. Yeah.
David was mentioning prior to the
I must have
podcast just
something.
how much
Yeah.
he absolutely hates seasonal allergies, and it's just hitting him hard right now. And normally he would be able to mute himself, but because you both are sharing a room, he's unable to mute himself without muting you as well. So we're hearing all the lovely cleanage of his sinuses right now. So David, God
Yeah.
bless you for both the sneeze and for just in general. God bless you. What is the game me and Nicole will be competing in today?
So I'm a little concerned because you looked up so many facts about the Oscars last week's episode that you might have seen some of these numbers, but this is a higher or lower game.
Okay.
So audience, please keep in mind that Phil has done research and may have an advantage.
I don't think so. But...
We'll see, because you mentioned some things that I also came across
okay.
while I was researching for my game.
Here's the
So we're
secret,
gonna give it a
David,
shot.
Is that and some of those details and fun facts that I wrote were even news to me when I was reading them back out aloud. So
Right, but that's not the point. You may have... Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yes.
It's like, oh.
oh wow, look at that, Martin Scorsese. He did it again. Good for him. Good guy. I've heard of him.
The way this works is I will be reading out a statement or a question or something, and there will be a number attached to that, and that number will be wrong, and you will have to tell me in turn whether you think the real number is higher or lower. So it's a very simple game. Everyone clear?
Absolutely.
Yes.
This year is the second year in a row that the highest box office earner is also nominated for Best Picture. This hasn't happened 2 years in a row in a long time. Was the last time earlier or more recently than 1989? So the last time the highest box office earner was also nominated for Best Picture 2 years in a row. We'll start with you, Nicole.
After.
So after 1989.
Yeah.
Philip?
I'm going to say higher, meaning like 1999 and closer to our current date.
1990 and... So you're also saying more recently.
Yes, more recently, yes.
Okay, well, that is incorrect.
Oh, wow.
It was... So the last time it happened...
Damn.
2 years in a row was 1977. That was the year the first Star Wars came out.
Oh.
I don't have in front of me what the first movie was, but the
Crazy.
second movie was Star Wars.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I
it
would've
has
thought
happened
Titanic or
1
something
year
else. Yeah.
every year. Yeah, Titanic
Yeah,
would have been
yeah.
one,
Mm.
but 2 years in a row is the key.
Mm.
Right.
Next up, for how many years in a row has an international feature film been nominated for Best Picture? Is the number higher or lower than 9?
Oh, wow.
So, Phil, we're going to you first. How many years in a row has an international feature also been nominated for Best Picture? Higher or lower than 9?
It's okay to give my reasoning. I don't feel like the Academy was particularly favorable to international films for so long that I think it would be recent, and I don't remember a streak of like 10 or above. So I'm going to go with lower.
Okay, Nicole?
I wish it was higher, but I'm also going to go with lower.
All right. You are both correct. It is 6, in fact. 6 years. Yeah. Very good. All right. Our next question.
Sorry, really quickly. Are we currently in that streak? Is that now?
Yeah,
like
that's including this year. So it's
Parasite, Zone of
6 year
Interest, All Quiet on the Western Front. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it dates back to Roma. John Williams has the second most nominations in Academy Awards history. Does he have more or fewer than 62 nominations?
Oh, wow.
We're going to you first, Nicole. More or fewer than 62?
Fewer.
Fewer than 62. Philip.
Oh, you dirty dog. See, I think common sense would, because that's astronomically
It's so much.
high.
It's so much.
But I feel like if it was fake, you would go with a lower one, and then it would just seem weird. But 62, that is just so much. I'm going to go higher and think that he just made like 4 nominations. Because I know one year he made like 2 Stevens. He made like Schindler's List and Jurassic Park. So there was like 2 in 1 year at least. I'm going to go with higher and feel ridiculous when Nicole wins, obviously.
No.
So this is the first one you've differed on. Nicole said lower. You said higher. It was, in fact, fewer at 54. Still a ridiculous number. It's a ridiculous number. I would imagine maybe there's like he was nominated a lot for best score and also best song or something like that.
Oh, maybe.
But I didn't look into his individual nominations, but it is an astonishing number, and it is the second most in history. That means, Nicole, you take a slim lead at 2-1.
And she goes first, too, right? Now, since she has a lead.
We can do it that way, yeah. The most nominations is still held by Walt Disney. Does he have more or fewer than 63?
I'll say more.
More than 63, Philip.
During his lifetime, or just you're saying the company?
No, Walt Disney himself.
Oh. And she said more. I'm going to go with lower. I mean, I don't think that the best animated, like he would have had to have gotten some weird ones, like I don't know, like Bert from Mary Poppins getting a nomination. I think it's lower.
You differ again, and this time it's Philip who goes in the correct direction. Yeah, he got 59.
Oh, okay.
So it was less than 63, but 59. Yeah. Correct. All right. Godzilla -1 has received an Oscar nomination this year. How many previous Godzilla films have received nominations? Is the number higher or lower than 5 films, Godzilla films? Philip, we'll go to you first.
I know Godzilla 2000 didn't get nominated for anything, and I can't imagine any reason. I'm going to go with... Oh, damn. I'm going to go with...
How many Godzilla movies are there?
I'm so sorry.
Well,
one clarification. Are you including -1 in that nomination?
Yeah, so yeah, -1 would be included. Received a nomination this year.
It's such a long history. I'm going to go with lower, again, because of the international thought. I'm going to go with lower.
Wait, because of the what? Sorry?
I don't know. I'm making up reasoning in my own head for both reasons, and both make sense to me. So I'm going to go lower and just feel like I should have gone the other way.
Nicole?
I know nothing. I've never watched a Godzilla movie.
Me either.
I have no idea.
Really?
I don't know how many there
I
are.
like them.
How many?
I've seen like King of the Monsters, and I think I saw the one with Bryan
That one
Cranston.
was crap. There's at least 3 modern American ones in like the same series. There's the Godzilla, then there's Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then there's Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say lower.
And then there's the 1999 Godzilla, and then
with
there's many Japanese versions of Godzilla.
Yes.
And
No, I'm gonna say lower as well.
okay, you're both correct.
Woo-hoo.
You know why? Because Godzilla -1 is the first Godzilla film to get an Oscar nomination. The number is 1.
Oh, wow.
Christopher Nolan has now received 10 nominations for Oscars. Is the real number higher or lower than 10?
Lower.
Lower than 10.
Christopher Nolan is a bit of a glory hog where you'll like watch the credits and then you'll see directed by Christopher Nolan. Okay. Produced by Christopher Nolan, written by Christopher Nolan, edited by Christopher. Like he takes up the entire thing. So especially whenever and he does great work. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So whenever like The Prestige, I just think about that. And if he got like a good year on that, I think he got nominated across the board for that. So I'm going to go higher because I think that he's going to stumble upon a dartboard even just for nominations. It's not wins, obviously. So I'm going to go with higher.
While his movies, I think, have been nominated a lot, he, including this year, has only received 8 nominations. So it's in fact lower, which means Nicole takes a slim lead at 4 points to 3 with 2 questions left.
Oh.
Are you ready?
Bradley Cooper has been nominated in 4 different award categories over the years.
Oh.
Is the actual number higher or lower? How many categories has Bradley Cooper been nominated in? Is it higher or lower than 4? Nicole, we'll go to you first because you're leading.
Lower.
Lower than 4.
Directing, acting, producing. The problem is I can't think of, like, I know he didn't write. Well, I mean, it's not that I know that he didn't write it, but even if I gave him writing, I don't think I can think of another. Like, it's not like he's back there editing sound. So I'm gonna go with lower and then hope that the next one Nicole messes up. I'm gonna go lower as well.
All right, you both go lower and you're both wrong. It's higher.
Oh.
He's been nominated in 5 categories. He's been nominated as a leading
supporting.
actor,
Oh,
as a supporting actor. He's been nominated as a producer for Best Picture,
Yeah.
a director, and for writing for
Also,
adapted screenplay. I can't remember. I think it was either
A Star is Born?
A Star is Born or Maestro. I'm not
Sometimes
sure.
I think of this like people who do all these things, and I'm like, I can't even write a short film. Like, what's happening?
It's much easier when you have people to do stuff for you.
Relatable. Last question. Philip, you have to get this right, and you have to hope that Nicole gets it wrong. La La Land holds the record for most nominations without winning Best Picture. So it had the most nominations without winning Best Picture. Is the number of nominations higher or lower than 10, Nicole?
Lower?
Lower than
Lower.
10. Philip, you got to go higher.
Although I kind of feel good about that. I feel like the average, like Oppenheimer was nominated for like 12. I think La La was up for 11.
Philip, you have clawed your way back right at the death. It is higher. It was 14.
Damn.
Nominated. Got 14 nominations, but if you will remember the ceremony, almost won Best Picture. It was announced as Best Picture
Came
winner.
as close as it could to winning without winning.
Right. And then it was called back, and it was Moonlight, in fact, that won that year.
Sad.
So we have a tie, 4 points to 4.
Woo!
And we go to the tiebreaker. The biggest talking point of the year cinematically, as well as what will be one of the bigger talking points at the Oscars, I'm sure, is the cinematic event of Barbenheimer. How much did Barbenheimer end up grossing in total worldwide? I mean, technically it's still running somewhere, but it's slowed down enough that we can land on a number. For reference, the highest grossing movie a couple years ago was Top Gun Maverick, and that grossed roughly $1.5 billion. So that's your reference point. Top Gun Maverick, $1.5 billion. Barbie and Oppenheimer, otherwise affectionately known as Barbenheimer, how much did that gross in total? Closest to the actual number will win. Philip, you tied the game, so you go first.
Together, their combined amount. I'm going to go 2.8 billion.
2.8 billion, Nicole.
Yes.
2 billion.
2 billion, 2.8 billion. The actual number was... Oh my God, it's so unbelievably close.
Yeah. I was going to be like, what if it's right in between?
If I rounded, it would be 2.4 billion. But am I rounding up or down from what it actually is? It is 2 billion, 396 million. $773,092. Love the $92. But it is slightly below 2.4, which means Nicole was closer.
Yeah, wow.
But we
by
were
less
doing
than
this.
by less than $4 million, Phil. By less than
Wow.
$4 million, you lost.
I can't
this
even
game.
be upset about that. Congratulations.
Yeah, if we're talking millions.
That is what they call, ladies and gentlemen, that is what they call wisdom of the crowd. We
Yes.
individually may not know the answer, how many jelly beans are in the jar, but if we ask
Together.
enough people together, if you take the average, we generally know what we're talking about. So,
Thank you, Philip, for setting a bar for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, no problem. My thought process was if Maverick made 1.5, I think Barbie itself made 2. And I know Oppenheimer didn't, like, it was close to a bill. Yeah.
yeah,
I was
so
like, Barbie is close to 2, and I think
It's
Oppenheimer
not.
is close to 1. Oh, it's not.
So Barbie worldwide is between 1.3, 1.4, and Oppenheimer is nearing 1 billion.
Oh.
So
okay.
Barbie's must be at 1.4 something. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
According
regardless.
to Wikipedia.
Yes. Well, okay. Regardless, thank you, Nicole. Congratulations. It was a very
Thank
well
you.
fought game. And thank you, David, for creating it. It was very nice. It was very, very festive, very themed.
Yes. Love that.
And with that loss, I sink down to a record of 8-14, while David and Jenny both stay at their records of David at 14-8 and Jenny at 7-16. Ooh.
Ooh.
That's Labs. Is this segment? I think usually Jenny takes us in, so I think that's
normally
why
I do, actually.
Oh, they. Well, by all means, slap me, David. Slap me away.
No,
What is slapping?
you took it well. I liked it.
Okay, that slaps this week as I have been negligent on figuring out my new songs, and they are all in a playlist, and I keep going through them, and there's a bunch of albums, so sometimes it goes back to old new albums that I've already hit. But this week I discovered myself, I found another Sam Smith song from his latest album, Gloria. I know, but it's called Lose You by Sam Smith from the album Gloria. It's delightful. I really enjoyed it. It's one of his more boppy hits of the album, and it's quite good. Lose You by Sam Smith. That slaps.
It's Oscar season. Of course I'm going to pick a movie, and it's going to be a movie we watched today together. It's Nyad. I am a sucker for a feel-good, based on a true story movie. And it's really the content itself that really moved me. Like I was almost in tears by the end, and I very much enjoyed the acting. You know, I'm okay with it not being nominated for Best Picture, but it's a great movie and it's available on Netflix. It slaps. Go check it out. It's called Nyad. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to Nicole for joining us once again this week. We love having you as such a good friend to this podcast. We have a few other thank yous that we want to dish out before we say goodbye. So thank you to Casson Crossland and Jake Corlang for the music that you hear on the show.
Thanks to Ryan Ardell and Josh Hans for a lot of the audio bits you hear throughout this show, and thanks to Rudy Chalk for his wonderful graphic work you see on all of our socials.
And thank you to you, the listener, for tuning in each and every week that you do. We appreciate your support. We hope you're enjoying. So recommend us to your friends. Check us out on our socials. We're on Instagram and TikTok at Roast and Toast Pod. We're on Twitter at Roast Toast Pod. Give us a follow. Check out our content there. We're on YouTube. What's our tag on YouTube, Phil?
Roast and Toast Pod.
Roast and Toast Pod, yeah. And so check us out there and recommend us to your friends. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're just about everywhere where you find podcasts, except for Pandora, because screw you, Pandora, no awards for you.
I thought the Academy Awards this year were really good. I just thought it was very bear heavy. What do you mean? Well, with Barrenheimer, the Bear Overs, Bear Things, the Bear of Interest, Anatomy of a Bear, Bearbie. It was a bit heavy for me.